So good afternoon, everybody. Today, Katie Fitzsimmons, Kiana Piano, Camelia Rodriguez, and Christopher Fuentes will be talking about the Latin representations in film and TV. So to start off, what is a stereotype? So according to Oxford's dictionary, it's a fixed idea or image that many people have of a particular type of person or thing, but which is often not true in reality. They are used as a shorthanded to quickly explain characters. Nevertheless, Camelia will be talking about the different types of stereotypes. First of all, being sexy and sassy stereotypes.
The sexy and sassy stereotype is the idea that a woman is only seen as a curvy, sexy, hot-tempered Latina. This is usually seen in movies and film as a woman that is a second wife of a rich man, usually a gold digger. Latinas have been sexualized in film and TV for many years. 35.5% of Latinas have been sexualized. The usage of this has changed during the years. Now we have TV shows like Jane the Virgin and movies like Chef that give an empowerment role to women. Here are some examples of what the stereotype of a sexy, sassy Latina is seen in TV and film.
Whoa. What's all that about? You mad at me or something?
I don't know. Did you do something to make me mad? Because then I am. But if you didn't, then I am not.
I didn't do anything.
Then I am not mad. I am mad. Last night, Jay had a sexy dream about some woman.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh.
And I know it wasn't about me. Because he knows that I hate when men call me baby. And yes, people are allowed their private thoughts, and I shouldn't be so angry. But I am Latin, so I get to feel whatever I want.
The spicy Latina. For nearly a century now, she's been the sultry face of Latina representation.
And for the men, there was a new sexy Latina nurse. Nurse Martinez.
The trope of portraying Latin women as exotic and hot-blooded, passionate in both love and in war, arose before the advent of cinema. And it stubbornly persisted on screen well into the 21st century, creating a lasting impression of Latina women as volatile, combative, and hypersexual that has bled over into real-world attitudes. But who is she really? The spicy Latina is, first and foremost, a fantasy, a blend of the sinister and the sensual.
My body's talking to me, says time for danger.
She is beautiful and exotic, usually seen with tan skin, brunette hair, and pouty lips. Her body is voluptuous and usually on full display.
And has she got,
There's a good chance she'll appear in some state of undress, or at least in something tight and revealing.
I can't afford any distraction.
The maid stereotype is a common role where there is a rich white family and they have a caretaker or a maid that is typically Latina and can't speak English well. Since 1997, 69% of iconic media maids have been Latina. The most iconic and exaggerated personification of this stereotype is Consuela in Family Guy.
No, doggy out.
What?
Out, afuera.
I live here.
No, afuera.
But look, I'm trying.
Hola?
Yes, could you please put Brian back on?
No, doggy afuera.
You're the new housekeeper, aren't you?
See,
Listen, I don't want to point fingers, but I'm missing about $1,000 in play money.
I take.
What, you took it?
See.
Another iconic stereotypical maid is Rosario in Will and Grace. In this clip, you can see how she is treated as a maid and some of the implications of this role.
Will, this is Rosario.
It's nice to meet you.
Okay, come on, honey. Sit-o down-o. Try not to talk-o.
You hear how she talks to me?
Historically, this maid stereotype has been used to fill minor or secondary roles and provide some comic relief. This has begun to change, however, as these characters take on a more central role as in Devious Maids or Maid in Manhattan, and are beginning to follow more complex or traditional storylines like the rags to riches American dream. Regardless of how large of a role it plays in the film, the effect of this stereotype is that it limits the representation of Latina characters to menial labor or caretaker roles rather than portraying them in elevated and prestigious roles such as being a doctor, lawyer, or politician, which is more accurate to real life.
Next off, we'll be talking about loud stereotype, which is the idea of making Latinos louder than anyone. In the room, I'm always catching the attention of everyone. This stereotype is usually played by a Latino character who are usually women, playing the role of either being loud with major attitudes. The usage of this role has not changed a lot throughout the years, as we can see the percentage of a Latino having a lead or co-lead in a movie is only 2.2% throughout 13 years. This usage of stereotype affects Latinos because it makes us seem like they have major attitudes and make us look like we can only play small roles in movies. Nevertheless, here I have provided a perfect example of what a loud stereotype really is.
I will never forget you, Jay! Ah! Stop screaming! No voy a even say it! Eso es lo que me faltaba a mí. Privacy en esta casa. Jay, what are you doing? Are you crazy? ¡Ay, se me va a romper la media, oye! Brilliant! We're going to be rich! I curse my tongue! Men are all animals! You're gonna spend eternity together! You don't say so?
The last stereotype we are discussing today is the gangbanger stereotype. This stereotype refers to a member of a violent street gang that is usually the opposition for the main characters. These characters can be called thugs, gangsters, or violent criminals, but the character remains the same. They're usually male and are used to threaten or intimidate and cause conflicts for the main characters. We can see an example of the stereotype with the shootout at the end of the movie Carlito's Way. The usage of Latinos as gangbangers has not changed as time has progressed, with the only changes happening if another minority has been cast as the gangbanger. The effect of this stereotype is different for two groups of people, Latinos and non-Latinos. For Latinos, they believe that they can only ever amount to the stereotypes they've been portrayed as in the media, which can lead to a negative self-esteem and a belief that they can only be criminals. We can see this in the jump of Latinos linked to crime in the U.S. between 1994 and 2012. In 1994, only 6% of Latinos were linked to crime, but in 2012 the number increased significantly to 24.2%. This is an 18% increase over this time period. To non-Latinos, they see Latinos as their stereotypes and believe that they are dangerous and criminal.
The first step to change is understanding that there is a problem. Now that we have identified some of these stereotypes, we want to propose some ways to make them more inclusive and less hurtful. For the sexy and sassy stereotype, it would be better to frame it as being self-confident and empowered rather than seeing her as mean and objectifying her. For the maid stereotype, directors should highlight the important impact she has on the family rather than just viewing her as a servant. They could also include representation in more diverse roles. For the loud stereotype, rather than shaming her and framing her loudness as being embarrassing or dramatic, frame it more as her being confident and passionate. And finally, for the gangbanger stereotype, make the characters more complex than just portraying them as one-dimensional thugs and represent them in more positive roles.